constant hum of seeking approval is a prison many men inhabit without realizing the bars are self-imposed. It's the silent agreement to shrink, to bend, to perform for the fleeting nod of others. This relentless pursuit drains the very essence of a man, leaving him hollowed and disconnected from his own core. It is the slow erosion of his inner sovereignty. The need for validation is a subtle addiction, a persistent hunger that can never truly be satisfied by external sources. Every decision, every word, every action can become filtered through the lens of what one will think. This is not living. It is existing as a mirror reflecting the desires and judgments of others. A man caught in this cycle forfeits his agency, trading authentic self-expression for a fragile peace built on the shifting sands of external opinion. He becomes a puppet, dancing to the tune of 1,000 unseen masters, each demanding a different pose, a different smile. This is the fundamental misunderstanding at the heart of so much modern struggle for men. We are taught, implicitly and explicitly, that our worth is contingent upon our perceived success in the eyes of the tribe. But what happens when the pursuit of that approval becomes the very thing that cripples our ability to achieve genuine fulfillment? It's a paradox that leaves many men adrift, perpetually seeking a harbor that never appears. Consider the soldier on the battlefield. His focus is absolute, his actions dictated by necessity and duty, not by the cheers or jeers of distant spectators. His life, and the lives of his brothers, depend on clarity, not on conforming to some imaginary ideal of battlefield swagger. This is a form of primal freedom from external judgment, born of dire necessity. The cost is steep. It is the sacrifice of authentic desire on the altar of social acceptance. It is the suppression of conviction for the sake of not causing offense. It is the slow, agonizing death of the unique spirit that resides within each man, replaced by a compliant echo. What is the alternative? It is the arduous, yet ultimately liberating path of turning inward. It is the courageous act of becoming the sole arbiter of one's own worth. This means confronting the fear that lies beneath the craving for approval, the fear of not being enough, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being utterly alone. Epictetus, the enslaved philosopher who found freedom in his own mind, understood this deeply. He taught that we are disturbed not by things, but by the view we take of them. Our pursuit of approval is a choice to be disturbed by the views of others. To break free, a man must reclaim his perspective, understanding that external opinions are merely fleeting impressions, not objective truths about his inherent value. The pursuit of external validation is a form of self-betrayal. It is saying to the world, "My truth, my desires, my being are not enough. I need your permission to exist fully." This is a costly surrender. When a man ceases this relentless chase, something profound begins to shift. The mental clutter of anticipating others' reactions begins to dissipate. A stillness emerges, a quiet space where his own thoughts and feelings can finally be heard. He begins to recognize his own desires, unburdened by the need for them to be deemed acceptable by others. This stillness is not emptiness. It is fertile ground. It is the beginning of true self-knowledge. He can finally discern what he actually wants, not what he believes he should want to impress someone else. The world doesn't suddenly become easier, but his capacity to navigate it with integrity and resilience grows exponentially. Imagine a craftsman honing his skill in solitude. His purpose is the perfection of his craft, the integrity of the material, the beauty of the finished piece. He is not working for applause, but for the inherent satisfaction of creation. This is the essence of self-possession. This internal recalibration allows for a redefinition of success. It moves from external metrics, promotions, wealth, admiration, to internal ones. Integrity, authenticity, a life lived in accordance with one's own principles. This is a far more sustainable and deeply rewarding form of achievement. The silence that follows the cessation of seeking approval is deafening at first. It can be uncomfortable, even terrifying. The absence of external feedback leaves a void that must be filled. This is where introspection becomes not a luxury, but a necessity. He must learn to listen to the quiet voice within, the voice of his own conscience and intuition. This process builds an internal fortress. His sense of self-worth becomes anchored not to the fluctuating tides of public opinion, but to the unshakable bedrock of his own character and actions. He becomes less susceptible to manipulation, less driven by the need to please, and more aligned with his own true north. It's a profound transformation. The energy once spent on anticipating judgment can now be redirected towards purpose, towards growth, towards the quiet building of a meaningful existence. This is where true freedom lies, in the liberation from the tyranny of other people's perceptions. It is the freedom to be imperfect, to err, to learn, and to grow on one's own terms. This is not about becoming arrogant or antisocial. It is about establishing a healthy inner boundary. It is about recognizing that while connection and community are vital, they should not come at the expense of one's own soul. It is about offering oneself to the world authentically, not as a plea for acceptance, but as a statement of being. What is the ultimate reward for this shedding of the need for approval? It is a rare form of peace, a peace that is not dependent on external circumstances. It is the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is, what he stands for, and is at rest within himself. This is the foundation upon which true mastery is built. The whispers of doubt from others lose their power. The sting of criticism becomes a mere breeze. The empty praise of the crowd fades into irrelevance. He stands firm, rooted in his own conviction, his own purpose. This is the strength that cannot be bought or sold. It is earned through the quiet rebellion against the noise of external expectation. His relationships change. They become deeper, more authentic. He attracts people who resonate with his true self, rather than those drawn to a manufactured persona. He can love more fully, connect more honestly, because he is no longer performing a role. This journey requires courage. It demands that a man confront the deeply ingrained habits of seeking validation. It means walking a path that may, at times, feel lonely, but is ultimately more authentic and empowering than any crowd-pleasing performance. He learns to trust his own judgment, his own intuition. He understands that while advice can be valuable, the final decision, the ultimate responsibility, rests within himself. This is the hallmark of a mature, self-possessed man. This is not a destination, but a continuous practice. The echoes of the old need may resurface, but with awareness and intention, a man can choose the path of inner sovereignty. He can choose to build his house on the rock of self-acceptance, rather than the shifting sands of external approval. He finally understands that the only approval that truly matters is his own. And in that realization, he finds an unshakable strength, a profound peace, and the unfettered freedom to live a life that is authentically his own. The weight lifts, the path clears, and he walks forward, no longer a prisoner of perception, but a sovereign architect of his own destiny. This is the quiet revolution within the soul of a man finally set free.